welcome to another episode of Influence and Growth Mastery. Today, I have with me Alexandra, and she is in the role, or has been in the role, of modeling, retail, banking, and we're going to find out what else she's been involved in. But I bring her to the podcast today because she has helped me with a very special event this past weekend. As many of you know, that my niece was in the Miss Oklahoma pageant, and Alexandra helped me immensely with preparing for that event because I wanted to, number one, support my niece, but number two, wanted to take some branding shots while I was there for the weekend. So Alexandra, thank you, number one, for helping me with that event. Number two, for coming on the podcast today and visiting with me. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, Tonya, first and foremost, thank you for inviting me. Yes. I appreciate the opportunity to share the space with you. And besides that, just the opportunity to get to, just personally help you with your own experience with your niece, Miss Oklahoma, doing,
Yes.
Those branding shots and all of that. And so I was definitely blessed with that opportunity. It's definitely been an honor and a privilege. So I definitely want to say thank you for that. And so for everyone here, guys, my name is Alex. Well, I go by Alex is for short and for my friends. So y'all can feel free to reach out to me as Alex if you've seen this. But my full name is Alexandra Lascano. I was born in New York. I am Hispanic. I was actually pretty much raised in Miami though, so I am a Miami native.
Yeah.
I've done just about everything and anything you can think of in this world.
I knew of those few, which are exciting. So
we started, you mentioned the modeling. And I think that was kind of like where I started off in life. It's one of like the stepping stones, but from modeling to the military to retail, banking, the gym. I worked at as a dental assistant at another point. I mean, jack of all trades, just about.
I love it.
I've definitely dipped my toe in a lot of different areas. So I wanted to go ahead and just kind of start off talking about my modeling. I started when I was 15.
Wow.
So I started a little bit young. My mother got me into modeling. I think it was like an accidental thing. I don't think it was something that was intended. We're going to be honest. I think we had come across something like at a mall and my mom was like, you want to try this? And I was like, why not?
Why not?
Let's go ahead and let's explore this opportunity, right? So I started modeling when I was 15. I absolutely loved it. Sorry, I have my doggy here trying to get my attention. I don't know why.
Oh.
But so from the first time that I started modeling, like I honestly started falling in love with fashion and with photography. I loved kind of learning to expand my horizons. Fashion was something that was very intriguing for me because when I was 15, kind of like that time in a lot of our lives when, we're going through our hormones, our bodies are changing, you're in high school, you're experiencing, bullying at a different level, all sorts of different experiences. And so I think it came like right at the perfect time when I needed it the most, just to kind of really learn how to get that confidence to carry myself. When I did the modeling, I was essentially like being taught different things from etiquette, outside of just dressing and taking pictures. It was, how do you carry yourself? And I think that that's one of the things that I love the most. about the modeling was just that, was the fact that, it gave me that experience in what you're putting out in the world. And I think that that's so beautiful because it kind of gave me that view of, I kind of have control over this. I kind of
love
have
it.
the capacity to have the control of the narrative of what's going on around me, or at least what I'm, putting out. And so I started then after I, probably want to say after like a few months of having been started, I had to kind of back away from modeling because it was very expensive. My mom was a single parent, so headshots can be a little pricey. And so I just kind of continued on my way. I just found pretty much later on in life, I want to say like right around the time that I was about to leave for the military, I had found an opportunity to just do like a photo shoot, and it just kind of brought me back into that whole situation all over again of falling in love with the modeling and figuring out, just what worked best for me. And then off into the military I go. And then I was in the military for a really short period of time. I suffered an injury, unfortunately. I did want to make a career out of the military. Like, I remember going in, getting out of high school, like my thought process was, okay, I'm going to make a 20-year career out of this. Like, I was super gung-ho about it. And then the accident happens and I had to leave. And I pretty much start going through like a severe depression.
Oh my.
So I started drinking a lot. I pretty much like just became an alcoholic. It got so bad that I remember, this was around the time that I was working at the gym. I was a sales manager. I was like 19, 20 at the time. This was the first time that I kind of had the freedom that I had, especially financially. So I was not, I was blessed a little too soon. And so that whole saying of, a blessing too early, sometimes go ahead and end up being something that ends up being not a blessing.
Right.
And so that was kind of like the case that happened. And like I said, it had started getting really bad, so much so that I couldn't show up to work unless I was at least buzzed. And finally, when I got to that point, I was like, okay, you know what? I think I need to reevaluate my life and a lot of things. And so I started getting into modeling again. And I started doing photo shoots, and that kind of started helping me find that joy in my life again.
Yeah, brought all that back.
Yes. It started bringing kind of like that spark back into my life. Shortly after kind of like that whole experience kind of starting to get back on track, I get married. My ex-husband was military. I was married for almost 7 years. And in that time period, I got to experience working a lot of retail where I got to help women, mostly women, because I did work in the men's department for a really short period of time. But so I got to work mostly with women, helping them out, picking out outfits, picking out shoes, picking out jewelry, like whatever you can think of. I actually worked at Dillard's, and I know that I mentioned this to you personally before. And so just getting to work with women and just helping them not only get a sense of style, but just a sense of self-worth was really kind of just that pinnacle moment, I guess, in a way, for me to just get into that self-discovery of like, I really love helping people up. And so going from there, I end up eventually getting a divorce, not the world's best situation. And so I decided, you know what, best thing to do is for me to leave. So I go back home to Miami with my mother. And for the last couple years, I've been pretty much just working in not only photography, but, the banking world and all that stuff. And just at one point while I was in Oklahoma, and I forgot to mention this, is I also went ahead and used to model for a boutique. And so just kind of moving back to Miami, I kind of got back into the, I want to go back to doing this for me and helping other people as well to just kind of discover that, that love of, I can feel good in what I'm wearing, that love of self, that love of, you know what? I don't need to hide in a shell. Like
reconnecting with yourself.
Yes. So that's kind of a little bit of me. Now I'm living in Illinois, and so I'm actually starting to work on making this more so a permanent situation where I help women out for a living, whether it's with their closet or for a specific event. And so that's where we are.
I love that. Oftentimes when people start entrepreneurship, and I didn't realize this, so I'll call you Alex for short. I didn't realize until I started my own business, but so many people I'm finding have such a story that has started from either low self-esteem, a drug background, an alcohol background, some type of trauma, some type of work abuse, or something like that. And I'll rephrase it to say, I'm finding everybody has a story.
100%.
And how they use that story to go from where they were to where they are now. It's kind of amazing. I'll say it like that. It's kind of amazing, and I'm working on how to tell my story, because my story, when I first started, I was like, I don't have a dramatic story to tell, because my story was from success to success. But then as I'm working with, a branding coach and working with other people, I'm finding, well, even while I was going through from success to success, I'm finding that there were times of going through success, I still had inner things that were not necessarily success. While I was confident in many areas, I wasn't confident in other areas. And so those areas have kept me held back in some ways that now affect me in business, my own business, that I'm having to work on to get to where I want to be, which takes me into how you've helped me, craziness on how some things just come full circle. But it's amazing. So, start off, dieting, lose weight, gain it back. Then I'm like, okay, I've got to get serious about this. I've got to eat healthy. I've got to start walking, because if I don't walk and get serious, it's going to continue to come back. I've had, certification coaches. I've worked on that. I've worked on business coaching, but I've never worked on coaching and things for myself. Self-love, I've always thought I loved myself, but I didn't realize there were areas where I didn't love myself.
Right.
So strange. It's so strange. And so then I'm going to, I'm working with Brandon, and, I hired this personal branding coach because I have all my branding done for my business. And I'm thinking, I need this personal stuff. And so we start talking about confidence and showing up in certain ways and loving yourself and doing things a certain way. And I'm like, I can't do that. Well, why not? Well, I don't know. Well, you start digging deep and you find out you have these areas that or these wounds you open up that you didn't know you had. Well, and so then I go to this event and it's like, well, you need to take all of these pictures. You need this for this reason and you need this for that. And I'm like, I'm not doing that. I can't do that. And I don't have those types of clothes and I'm not ready to take pictures because I'm still too heavy. And then, you enter my equation, if you will, you enter my life and I'm like, I get this text and you're like, hello, I'm going to work with you and let's start in your closet. And I'm like, what the heck, And so, we're going to go shopping in your closet. And I'm like, I don't have anything in my closet. The next thing I know, I'm hanging up all these pictures, and sending you text messages on what I have in my closet. But I have to say, it was a humble moment, but it was an emotional moment, but it was also a fun moment, to be able to do that. But it was something I needed to go through again as another piece to figure out who I was. And just the emotional side of it. It was a roller coaster. I'll just be honest. It was a roller coaster. It was, I had to face the fact that I am where I am, but I'm not always going to be here. But it also made me continue to solidify the goal that I had, that this is a goal and I'm going to get there and I'm not always going to be where I am. Some people can be happy with where they are. Some people aren't happy with where they are, but I'm facing this weekend and I can't get off 30 pounds, 40 pounds overnight. So I have to work with her and figure out, what am I going to wear in 2 days? And so I've just got to do whatever she says to do. And so as I started sending you these pictures and it was, hearts, thumbs up, thumbs down. And it, you're just like, oh, this is just hard. It's difficult. But then, as we went through the closet and we had all those things. And then the next thing was, okay, try it on and send me pictures. That was the next step of vulnerability, and had to humble myself again and, to go through those steps. But again, everything we do is a process. And again, it goes back to your story, the self-love, getting to know who you really are, who you want to become, and learning the positives, because there were positives that come from, each step in what you had me go through. And so it was the pictures. And then it was like, I don't like the way I look in this. And not only did I not like the way I looked, some things fit fine. Some were too tight. Some, still. One was a little big, which that was great. One still had the tags on it. I'd never worn it, but I bought it saying, I love this dress and I'm going to get in this dress one day. And just being able to say, I zipped this dress up. I'm in this dress that I bought. That was a goal that I met. And so, that was a celebration going through that process. And then we start talking about, which moves me into something else I want to talk about, is learning how to fit the body and working with those problem areas. I have to tell you, that was the next thing that, that put me on the next roller coaster, is understanding what I had in my closet or didn't have in my closet. As I told you, okay, I'm not liking any of this. I'm going shopping tonight.
Yeah.
Remember when I tried all that on, I was like, I'm not liking this. I'm going shopping tonight.
Yeah.
And so, and so I did, but it was learning to work with the curves and the indentions and all of those things. But you were there every step of the way, encouraging me and telling me to work with those things. And so, I would love for you to just share, some of the things that you shared with me in going into talking about the fabric, the hips, the boxy, the prints. I mean, I don't care if you talk about those things. I mean, we're talking to my audience, and we know we have to get vulnerable,
100%.
to share these things. But those were such aha moments to me that have now, Alex, changed my life. That I went through the pain to now learn how to look better going forward. And now, as my body is changing, as I'm losing the weight, to know what not to buy going forward, what to get rid of that's in my closet that now, which I saved those pictures and I will continue to save them. I will have an album of it'll probably be called Alex, but it will, I can look back and I will say, look at this pair of shorts and how your hips look here. Look at this pair of capri pants, how you look short. Although I love them and I'll still wear them, but I know when I wear them, and if I wear those sandals and all, I look short in those capri pants. I'll know not to buy that kind of shorts anymore because I look boxy. But I would love for you to open up and just share that process that you went through with me, so other people on here can hear, because there may be people who are like me and say, I need an Alex in my life. I can tell you there's a lot of people who need an Alex in their life, but you changed my life, and I'm so grateful for you. And I'll be hiring you more in the future. I'll just tell you that right now. But I want you to share those moments that you went through with me.
I think one of the key things that you mentioned, well, two of the key things that you mentioned, A, everyone has a story, and B, vulnerability is key. For me personally, from the age of 15 up until now, I battled with weight. When I was 15, I was just about the height that I am now. I was about 5'6.5", 5'7" and I was weighing like 125 pounds, and I was super thin. And I think, as much as I do love modeling, I think that going into it, and being called fat, even though I wasn't.
I want to weigh 125, maybe a little bit more.
I'm like, I look back at those pictures, and I'm like, I thought I was fat. Like, I was, what? But so I think that kind of stuck, right?
Yeah.
And that just kind of sent me on a journey of, constant changing of my weight. I think right now is currently the heaviest that I am. Fortunately, I am tall, so the weight has at least not, been too crazy noticeable. But, as myself, I can tell. But I think that throughout this entire journey, one of the many things that I've learned is you have to, wherever you are, regardless of whether you're, the heaviest you've ever been or the smallest you've ever been, whether you feel comfortable or you feel uncomfortable, right? Because everyone kind of feels different in their own skin. I think that like one of the biggest key things would be, you just kind of have to work with what you have. And this is exactly what I told you when I was working with you. You got to learn to work with what you have, because as much as, we all wish that we were just super loaded with money, realistically speaking, our everyday life isn't one for that Kim Kardashian lifestyle where we have, 10 people on hand to go ahead and just take care of every single one of our things.
Right.
And I think learning to figure out that, okay, I can work with this relieves such a giant weight off your shoulders. It's just a matter of knowing what to look for. Right. And so, I think the other key thing too that I wanted to point out was also, a lot of us will wait until we're where we want to be, right? So we'll wait until we're skinny enough, or, in other cases when we've gained weight enough, or we look fit enough, or whatever that enough is for the person. We wait until then to start whatever it may be. And it's like, I've learned from experience, you just got to do, again, you just got to do with what you have, wherever you are, whether you're at the beginning of your journey, middle of your journey, or end of your journey, you just got to learn to make this work. And so, throughout my own personal experience over the years, I've come to learn things like, for example, certain prints, like I mentioned to you, certain prints will make you actually look heavier. Things like different color prints might be too distracting. So if, for example, depending on your height, if, you're a little bit shorter, and a little bit heavier, you might want to look into things like stripes. That might be one of the exceptions to the type of print that you're looking for. You want to look at something that instead of going horizontal, goes vertical. Not only will it make you look taller, but it will also make you look skinnier. One of the things also that I pointed out to you, I remember the picture. I loved that color on you. And I remember I texted you like before you even showing me anything. I was like, do you have a pink suit? Because knowing the person that I'm working with, I look at things like the tone of their skin, their undertone, because that'll also make a difference with knowing what tones, what colors are going to work best for you, depending on the purpose that we're trying to accomplish at the end of the day. That color on you, not only because of your personality, but just because it goes great with your skin color. And when you showed me that Michael Kors shirt, it was, right? Yes. I remember mentioning to you, the fact that the straps, because it was a little bit of an open shoulder, the fact that the straps were like a chain, kind of helped it be almost like an accessory in a way. Right. And it just drew attention to, the smaller part of you, your neck, it definitely just draws attention to the right areas. Looking at those small details, definitely makes a very big difference. I remember mentioning to you, for example, with pants, looking at things that, you told me, the moment you told me you have a smaller waist, is like, okay, so you want to go ahead and you want to make sure that that's what you accentuate, what you bring focus to are your smaller areas, because at the very beginning of our conversation, you told me, I'm in the process of losing weight and I feel self-conscious about my weight. And I was like, okay, so let's focus on the things that we not only like about ourselves, but let's draw attention to those smaller areas. So, things like tucking in your shirt a certain way, looking at the height of your pants is so important. You know, I know, for example, I can speak on myself. I tend to wear more often than not mid to high rise, not only because of my weight, but because I have a really long midsection. And so just the way that just pants fit, low rise ain't a thing, even though I did it back in 6th grade.
Yes.
But so things like that, you know, things like looking at the shape of your body, what works to your advantage, what works to your disadvantage. You mentioned, you know, your arms. I'm self-conscious about my arms too, but I've found ways that, you know, not only from what I'm wearing, but also from how I'm posing when I'm, whether in a camera, on a show, whatever the case may be, you come to learn things and small details that make a world of difference so that things work in your favor. You know, and it helps you. It helps you start realizing, like, I can do this. I can rock this outfit and look great. You know, and I, you know, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, you know, you mentioned the pink or the fuchsia top. And I said to you, I love this top, but I would typically shy away from it because there's not much up at the top in the shoulder area because of my arms. And then when I put it on, excuse me, you said it covers your arms and draws attention to your neck and your face. And I was like, wow, I never even thought such a thing. But then when I put it on and I saw that it did totally cover my arms and it did draw attention there, I thought, why in the world have I not known this before? Because I could have been, number one, a heck of a lot cooler in the summer. Because I would buy something, I've always looked for 3/4 length shirts or long sleeve and rolled them up and just been so hot. Oh, you know, so, and then I've looked for shirts that are way much longer. And then, I mean, you have just saved my life.
Well, so that's the thing, you know, it's funny because I feel like a lot of us women, and especially when we've gained weight, we try to hide.
Exactly.
Only to not realize that in doing so, we sometimes even make ourselves look heavier than what we really are, you know, and it sucks because then you come across a mirror and you look at yourself and you hate what you're looking at. And as 100%. Much, you know, as much as I would hate to say it, but the reality is as individuals, and I think more so as women, because we tend to be so critical of ourselves, we need to like what we see. You know, it's such a important factor. You know, obviously what's inside matters and what's inside also comes out, but sometimes you need that little extra help of what you're looking at, because if what you're looking at is also something that you hate, it kind of also makes it really hard to like what's on the inside. Granted, I know that's not the case for everyone. Some people are really great feeling comfortable in their skin. Listen, to this day, I'm amazed by women, regardless of shape, that just love where they are with their body. And I'm like, I still just get baffled because all the time I have my own personal roller coasters of like, no.
Yeah.
I want to be comfortable in my skin, and half the time it's that battle. And then I'm like, I wear just the right thing, and I remember these things that I've learned, and I'm like, oh, you know what? I do look good.
Yes.
I wear this or whatever, you know. And so I love getting to do that for people. I love those aha moments, you know, getting to help you reach those aha moments.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then I was telling a friend just a couple of things that you shared with me, and I'll go back to the fuchsia top that had the chains as the shoulders. And I said, she told me to wear a thin chained necklace or something just, small.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, I never thought about jewelry in some of the ways that she taught me about jewelry. I said, I would think, open up 2 or 3 of my jewelry drawers and go, oh, I think I'll wear that today. I never thought about it in the ways that you mentioned it. And so now it's like, I have a whole new way to look at my jewelry even. And so, I have my favorite pieces and I wear them often. And it's like, I've never even thought about how does that look with what I have on. And so now even I look at that. And so I have to tell you, and I don't mean this in an ugly way. I say this in a learning, educational way. But as I'm out in the mornings now and I'm walking my dog, I'm looking at all of these people who are leaving for work and I'm like, that does not look good on you. You need to go back in and change that top. That is not flattering for you, or you look boxy, or you're hiding something, or that looks phenomenal on you. I am now looking at people and what they have on in a totally different way.
Yeah.
I'm seeing the things that it's almost like marketing. It's, when you start learning branding and marketing and all these things, because working with a friend and then working with Brandon, he's showing me all these things. I'm looking at images and I'm seeing graphics and images and color and all that in a totally different way.
Yeah.
It's the same thing about this. I mean, I'm seeing now live, I'll call it content. I'm seeing live content walking down the street and I'm like, that they don't know. They don't know. They need an Alex in their life. They need an Alex to go through their closet, you know. But it's amazing. And even from my mom, when I was showing her those pictures, my mom was like, I loved that blazer, that fuchsia blazer, that printed top, and those white shorts on you, Tonya. I loved it. And I said, Mom, I'm going to show you that picture that I sent her. And then I'm going to show you the picture I sent her the morning that I re-put on those white shorts with the fuchsia top, and then tell you what she said. And then I'm going to show you the shorts that I had on that she, said looked better. And you tell me if you see what she told me. And she went, oh my goodness. Yes, I see it. And so she was like, what are you going to do with those shorts? And I said, as much as I love those white linen shorts, they're going back to Dillard's. And they are still sitting in there. They will probably go back on Sunday. They are sitting in there on my kitchen table. I love them, but I can't wear them now because I'm thinking they don't look right on me. And so I want them to look right.
That's the thing. I think, I don't know if I mentioned it to you or not. I think that's one of the biggest things is knowing, depending on the situation, what works with what piece, because every piece is different. If you treat the one piece as a one piece and you just put a random one pieces together, it may work, it may not work.
But the two pieces I thought it would look great with, you were like, no. And I'm like, I can't send Alex everything I put these shorts with. That's 2 no's. They're gone.
Well,
they're gone.
When I talk to women, when I talk to individuals, I look based on their personalities. So usually when I do intro calls, I kind of try to find out more, not only about the person, especially if it's a brand new person. I, try to get a feel based on conversation, what problems the person might be experiencing, and then kind of go from there, right? Mm-hmm. And then I'll start pointing things out, not only based on personality. I'll look at obviously your body shape, I'll look at things that you like, because there's probably a lot of things that you do like that work well. It just may not be put together maybe with the right pieces, right? Mm-hmm. We mentioned jewelry, like accessorizing, knowing how to accessorize is super important. Mm-hmm. again, it's going for those areas that we're not taught to think of, you know?
Right.
We're not taught how to properly dress to enhance our features, you know, what works best. We just kind of go with whatever style most of the time. I know, because listen, for the longest time I've done that, you know, until I had plenty of years of experience of learning how not only personality and fashion. I mean, you and I talked about Boss Lee, Jessie Lee, the other day.
Oh, yes.
You know, she dresses according to her personality. I mean, obviously she works with what works also for her body, but more so, like, I feel like when I see her clothing and her pictures, I see her personality. She's a very bold person. I remember pointing that out to you, you know, and you can tell she wears a lot of leather. The colors that she wears are very bold. You know, and that's the thing. We don't realize how much psychology goes into our clothes, into the colors. Same thing with regular branding and marketing. You know, there's a lot of psychology behind these things that we're not aware of. Sometimes, you know, we get lucky and we just happen to have really good taste, and, you know, all the power to you. But a lot of us don't know that. A lot of us don't know what works best for us. A lot of us, it's that attention to detail. We're taught that, you know, and I think that the military kind of really just helped me with that and just enhanced that natural trait of mine of that attention to detail. So, like, I will see things and be able to point out, oh, you know what? If again, smaller area, I love your neck. You have a very majestic neck. And I'm like, draw attention to that area.
Yeah.
You know? And that shirt worked for you.
Yeah.
And so I think it's those details. It's those things that really kind of just help, you know, the person decide that either this works for me or this doesn't work for me, and go from there. After that session, usually just kind of deciding, okay, you know, are we doing a whole closet thing situation where we need to shop in that closet and figure out what's going to work, or we need to just do this for one time, and maybe you have a one-time event like you did, and that's all I really need for. And that's kind of just how I work.
Well, I know now that there's a lot of things in that closet that probably need to go. Number one, it's so jam-packed right now that it can't hardly hold another thing. There's so much that needs to go. But I think now, I think I could be a pretty good judge of a lot of things that do need to go. But it's almost like I have this desire to, it's not start over. It's not that. It's just that I want to get in there and I want to put everything on and say, this works with me now. This doesn't. This works. This doesn't. But I'm going through that weight loss journey. So I know that the body type is changing. So, it's going to be a process. I know that, but I also know that I have hips. I have a rear, and I probably will always have that rear. It's so funny. I started to say this a while ago and I didn't, and I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Be careful what you ask for, because you could very well get it. You know, the whole time I was in high school, I was growing up, I was super skinny. I mean, super skinny. And, you know, it's whatever you feed your mind, you get, or whatever you listen to, you get.
Right.
You know, oftentimes you always hear, you can't continue to eat like that and be skinny. People say that all the time. So that feeds your mind, feeds your mind, feeds your mind, feeds your mind. And it was, I can't remember, it may have even been Brandon, I'm not real sure, who I was listening to that made me realize that's where my negative feeding came from, because I was super thin all the way up until I got pregnant. And so I always heard you can't always eat like that and stay thin, because when you get pregnant, you won't ever lose it. So I was super thin until I got pregnant. Yes. And then I gained 50 pounds and didn't lose the 50 pounds. And then you hear, well, when you go through menopause, of course I had an early hysterectomy, so I didn't have all that. But when you turn 40, you start gaining weight and you can't lose it. So what happened when I turned 40, I started gaining more weight. So you have all these negative feedings that you hear all the time. And then when those things happen, automatically, well, I've just turned 40, so now I'm going to start gaining weight, So you have to get rid of those unlimiting beliefs. Right. And so as I hear my granddaughters talk about, well, I can't always eat like this because I won't stay skinny. And I'm like, oh, yes, you can stay skinny. Don't be believing that trash, But so here's what I was going to say. This takes me to what I was going to say. When I was thin, I was straight as a board. People would always say, you do not have a rear. You do not have a rear. And I was like, one day I will, because I'm praying for one. So when I gained the weight, that's where I gained my weight. So I am totally blessed. I am totally blessed in the hip and the rear area. I'm totally blessed. And so be careful what you ask for or what you pray for, because you very well may get it. God may bless you.
I think that's one of the beauties of going on this journey, is learning to discover that whether it's, having a rear, having wide hips, having thick legs, having, wide back, having big arms, whatever the case may be, there is a way to help you not only feel great in your skin, but make everyone else see what you feel, make you realize the beauty, because that's just it. Women are beautiful, regardless, women are just so strong.
Yes.
Whatever.
My granddaughter said this weekend when I put on the black dress, she said, Mimi, that dress makes you look so thin in the waist, and accentuates your rear. And I started laughing and I said, did you have to say that? She said, do you know how many women would love to have that? And she said, do you know how many women have surgery to have that? She did. And she said, I think I would wear that dress proudly and enjoy it.
I love that dress. I saw that dress and I was like, oh my God, I pictured Tonya in this. And, that's just it. My job here is to make sure that you feel like a superstar, because you deserve to feel like a superstar in your own life. Life is hard enough as it is to go around feeling not great.
That dress was fun to wear. I have to admit, the dress was fun to wear. My niece's mom said, if she wins, you're going on stage as the mom in that dress.
Listen. I think it would have been definitely, amazing to just spend the whole weekend watching you take pictures in that dress. Like,
it was fun. I will definitely, I have bought a package, a photograph package.
mm-hmm.
And I've already said I'm going to have to take that dress and have pictures made in that dress. But I have to tell you, you were fun. You were so patient with me, and it was great to go shopping in the closet to find that nothing was going to work, and then to go off shopping and to find, to try on some things. I mean, literally 2.5 hours, we shut Dillard's down. The lady come in the dressing room and she said, "I'm not rushing you, but I just want to let you know we are closing in 30 minutes. And I was like, what? I did not know we were here that long. That time went so fast.
But you were trying all these different things. You probably felt like a little girl again playing dress up.
It was fun. It was fun. And to get all the tips and the tricks and the knowledge from you. But I want to tell the audience that is listening that they need an Alex in their closet. They need an Alex in their life. They need an Alex in their jewelry box. All the way down to the shoes, even, all the way down to the shoes, the hair, the jewelry, the tips. All of the tips that you gave were just amazing. And so, I want to thank you publicly for what you did. And then I want you to share with the audience how they can connect with you. And then we'll come back and share with what possibly may be coming. And before we end our wonderful conversation, I hate to disconnect from you. It's been so fun.
We always have such a great time talking.
We do.
I think that's one of the biggest things too for me is, I'm a sucker for relationships. Like I am a relationship builder. I am a people person.
We may need to start you a podcast, honestly.
So I used to have one actually.
Oh my gosh.
So funny story. I actually had a bigger Instagram than what I currently do now. I just restarted it recently because I'm the type of person I like to start from scratch when really big things happen. So I'm like, you know what? We're starting from scratch. I moved to a whole new state. So we're just going to start everything from scratch. And but so at one point, I actually had the Alexandra Experience podcast, which I plan on eventually starting back up again. But so I was on iTunes, on Spotify, all these different platforms and stuff. And I loved it because I would go on there on a week basis, once a week basis, give or take, and just share my stories. I mean, I have so many stories to tell. And sometimes I would do kind of what you're doing, bring someone on and just kind of talk about other things. But I think that the beauty of all the different experiences that I've lived is having the ability to share them, and to learn that having me as a friend is a whole experience. And so I love getting to share all of those.
We need to get you started back. There's so many people I could introduce you to in the podcast world, and that's growing for me. Oh my goodness. Yes, you need to get. And then as you get in the closets of people and help so many people, the people that you could interview after the experience would be, that would be so amazing.
Yes.
So amazing. I mean, you probably would want to stick to just women, but I even think you could help men.
I've helped Brandon, matter of fact, before.
Really? Oh my goodness.
I love playing dress up. I love playing dress up. I really do. I think it's just fun. It's such I'm a very expressive person, from my hands to my emotions on my face to, what I write. At one point, I also, was writing. I actually went to university for that. I was going to college to be a creative writer. I'm just a very just vocal person and have a lot to say.
I have an event I'm going on in November. I can't tell it publicly because I'm keeping it confidential.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big event. I'm telling you right now, I want your help for that event.
I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But I'm here.
Yeah. We'll talk about that offline, but yes, I want your assistance with that event. So tell the audience where they can locate you. So you mentioned Instagram. Is there anywhere else that they can reach out to you at this point?
So a couple of different ways, right? You can message me personally. I have a work phone that I use exclusively for business. And so the phone number to that one is 847-627-6884. You can repeat
it one more time. Repeat it one more time.
That number is 847-627-6884.
Okay.
And then on Instagram, you'll see me as Alexandra, ALEXANDRAA .Lascano. And so that last name is going to be spelled LASC as in Charlie, ANO. So you'll find me on Instagram like that. And then on Facebook, I show up as Alexandra Lascano, so minus the extra A and without the period. But that's how you can find me also on Facebook. I believe my Instagram is connected to my Facebook too, so you'll be able to just, if you're on one, you'll be able to connect to the other because I have them both connected. But so for right now, those are the three ways to reach out to me. The easiest is probably going to be the cell phone, just to reach out on a more personal. Oh, and my email. And that email is going to be Alexandra, the same way that I spelled it, minus the extra A, at thealexandraexperience.com.
Perfect. And we'll put that in the show notes as well with links. So that will be there for people to easily connect. My throat's dry. Talked a lot.
Listen,
Talked a lot.
Drinking water all day. Last name.
I think I'm going to need one as well. So, yes, we'll put that in the show notes. So that will be easily accessible for everyone to reach out to you. The other thing I was going to mention, I'm going to hold that back because that's something you're working on. So that will come at a later point in time when you're ready to make those announcements. And so I want to thank you for being here and having this conversation with me, again, going through those moments with me. That was a very special time. And it was a great event. It was a great moment for me. And, you're forever connected to me. That's just all I can say. You're forever connected. You're not getting away. A new friend. Okay, good. A new connection, a new friend. And, we may have to bring you on after November and talk about even the newest details that I learned after going through the next experience. Definitely. But for those,
you. I mean, honestly, before we get off, I just want to say thank you. I know that not only have you mentioned it, but I know just from personal experience, it is a very vulnerable experience. So thank you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting my personal experiences and my years of, experience in the different industries that have allowed me to provide you with that knowledge and just kind of guide you through that, that single event and the other stuff, that we'll continue to work on forward from here. Thank you. Really, that's one of the biggest things. I don't take it lightly because this is something that is very vulnerable and very emotional for a lot of people. And so just thank you from the bottom of my heart for bringing me on here and for, helping me just kind of tag along with your adventure for your niece's experience as well. And so just thanks again.
Well, you are very welcome. And going through the details like you did helped me to see it with my own eyes. And if someone had just told me, pick this over this without those details, I would have gone with my own thoughts. I'm just being honest with you. I would have chose the white shorts over the tighter denim, bar none. That's what I would have done because I was not comfortable wearing the tighter shorts. I was much more comfortable wearing the looser linen shorts, and I would not have listened. I would have gone with my own thought. But you taking me through the journey, literally, of showing me and explaining to me the difference, and then me being able to see it with my own eyes, that made the biggest difference in the world. And that did help me to be able to create that know, like, and trust factor that people are looking for in coaches and consultants and friends. And it is, the transformation was there, and it helped me to know that you knew exactly what you were talking about. And I mean, I knew that even before then, but I have to tell you, that sealed the deal for me in knowing absolutely, hands down, that I needed to promote you. I needed to do something for you, and I needed to help get your message out to my audience, because like I said, everybody needs an Alex in their closet. Everybody needs one in their jewelry box, and everyone needs one in their shoe stack. And it's you that sealed the deal. And I mean, I wouldn't even be afraid to show people the evidence that you showed me, because that sealed it. So for those of you that are listening here on the podcast today, Influence and Growth Mastery, I have a Facebook group set up that's called Influence and Growth Mastery, that I'm trying to grow, that is full of influencers for you to learn from. If you've not already joined that group, please do. Influence and Growth Mastery. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. Goodbye.